The DIYphysio technique in this clip is for low backs. Of course, we have to remember all low back pains are going to be slightly different. So if your back pain is more than a general discomfort or stiffness, it's probably important to get it looked at, although this may help as just a nice pain mediator. So remember, don't take this as your treatment, take this as maybe a supplement, a support to getting treatment if it's more severe. What we need to remember too is our back is the outcome of what happens all around our abdomen. So not just our backside, also our front side. It is particularly secondary to what is happening at our pelvis. So the way our pelvis is positioned has a huge impact on our low back. So let me demonstrate. When I sit leaning into my tailbone, can you see that my low back is now rounded? Can you see that if my low back is rounded, that puts more strain through my low back muscles and through those joints there? Now, if I press down excessively through my tailbone, can you see that really excessive arch through my back? With a really excessive arch, can you see all of these muscles really shortening, really working hard, and becoming what we would term hypertonic? All right, now when we're in the middle, can you see somewhere in the middle that there's a light arch? I'm not swayed too much forward or back. My head is relatively stacked over my pelvis. That's the end goal. That's really where we want to aim. But to find it, it is hard because each of us rests in very different, subtle positions of our pelvis. So start with your hands on your lap, tilt back and press it down with your tailbone. You can keep pressing down till either you feel a little bit of a pull or you feel quite obvious core effort, or you just know that that's your end range. Then press it down with your pubic bone as much as you can. Keep pressing down until either you feel a bit of a stretch, a bit of excessive activity here, or you know it's just your end point. Come back, come forward, come back, come forward. As you do this, continuously rocking back and forth, let your eyes just look forward, your head as if you're trying to balance a book on it, so that everything between your eyes and your pelvis are just moving in relationship to what your pelvis is doing. As you're doing this, you'll probably get to a point where you are either bored and annoyed with doing it, or more importantly, you start finding a place where it feels quite comfortable. You start noticing, oh, that range, that position feels really good, and I sort of want to stay there. So maybe start making it smaller, narrowing it down so you come just to either side of the spot that feels quite good, and eventually make your tilting small enough so that you're ending up in the position of your pelvis where it feels quite nice. Good. Now from here, lifting your arms up. We're lifting up with our arms so that we have this stability effect of resisting gravity. When we sit extensively, then that is a huge amount of gravitational pull that our body isn't necessarily working against when we get tired. So reach up. It's okay if your shoulder blades come up towards your shoulder blade, up towards your ears. Just want you to keep reaching. When you get to a point where you can't reach any higher, just let your arms down. Release. Maintain that same pelvic position. Now reach up this time, only about a partial distance, to the point that you can feel your spine lengthen and you can feel your stomach switching on. And all we're going to do now is that pelvic tilt again. Tailbone tap down, pubic bone tap down, tailbone tap down, pubic bone tap down. So with this, you almost want to let your hands be staying at the same spot in the air. Of course, there'll be a slight motion. what I like you to be noticing is what muscles are switching on during which part of the movement. Remember, back muscle activation is necessary and is equally as necessary as core activation. It's most important to find a place where you feel a balanced activation between sides, and that's where you're going to pause. Pause where you feel equal activity front and back, and then you're going to turn to one side and turn to the other side. Back to your first side, back to your second side. So I hope that as you do this, you notice your core activating. I hope you notice that you do have a bit of motion that gets limited at the end range. So maybe you get a bit of a stretch, maybe you just get a little compression. It's fine. You don't have to go to your end point. You can go just to the point where you know it feels effective and works. And when your arms start getting tired, come back down, let your arms down. So as you do that technique, you can repeat it. You can add, subtract other movements. You can make up stuff that just sort of feels like something your body wants to do. I definitely highly encourage that. If you can start to follow sort of those cravings that your body wants to do, it's usually a good indicator that it's something that will benefit your body. But when you do it, go more gentle than you may intend to initially. Less is more when we're experiencing and deciphering what is good for our body and what will benefit our body. So as you do that, even with the tiltings, you don't have to overdo it. Stay in that range where it feels pleasurable, relieving, and feeling good. Once it starts branching into something else, going beyond that point of enough, let it go, return to it another time.